In a vast and green meadow, stood a kingdom called Pride Lands led by a king named Mufasa and Queen Sarabi. That day, all the animals were called to gather at Pride Rock to celebrate the birth of the king's son named Simba, who would later become king in Pride Land. The scene continues with a rat running towards the cave, and the rat is greeted by Scar. Scar is Simba's uncle who didn't attend his nephew's ceremony at that time. Not long after, a bird named Zazu came over to Scar and asked why he didn't come to the event. Instead of answering, Scar instead stares at Zazu as if Scar is going to eat it. At the same time, Mufasa came to stop Scar from attacking Zazu. Mufasa also asked the same thing, and Scar casually replied that he forgot the event this morning. Mufasa tries to advise Scar, as his actions disrespect the queen. Instead of apologizing, Scar tried to leave Mufasa instead. Mufasa tries to block, because he thinks Scar is challenging him. Scar quibbled and said that he would not fight the king who would be king forever. Mufasa also explained that his throne would be passed on to his son, Simba. Listening to Mufasa's explanation, Scar left him impolitely.
Long live the king.
At night, away from the kingdom of Pride Land, a monkey was quietly sitting on a tree trunk, slightly disturbed by a group of fireflies and insects in a tree trunk. The monkey realized that the little animals were doing a unique formation. So that he could more clearly see what shapes the animals were making, the monkey spewed dust, and when the animals had left, he saw a picture of a small lion engraved on the tree trunk. Time has passed. Simba has now grown into a cheerful and intelligent child. One morning, Simba excitedly wakes up his father to join him on a patrol of the Pride Lands. After fully awakened, Mufasa immediately took Simba up a cliff to see how vast the kingdom they had. He also explained that the true king is not he who can have more power, but he who can give more to his people. Then while they were chatting while walking around in the meadow, suddenly Zazu came to give a report. He said that there were hyenas hunting across the border of Pride Land. And now Queen Sarabi and her entourage are leading the attack. Hearing this information, Mufasa immediately ordered Zazu to bring Simba home, while he went to monitor. Driving around the house, Simba was distracted by a beetle, which instead took him to Scar's lair. When Simba expresses his curiosity about what lies beyond the borders of the Pride Lands, Scar tells him that it is an elephant graveyard that is strictly forbidden to visit. When he got home, he immediately invited Nala to play to the water source. However, worried about the hyenas' counterattack, Queen Sarabi ordered Zazu to keep an eye on the children on the way. On the way, Simba tells Nala where they are actually going, namely to the elephant graveyard. They also plan to get rid of Zazu. But suddenly Zazu talks about their matchmaking and makes both of them feel uncomfortable. Zazu also said that it was the rule of the royal family, which then made Simba intend to change some of the rules when he became king in the future. As they continue their journey, Simba and Nala finally managed to get rid of Zazu by trapping him in a crowd of animals. Arriving at the elephant graveyard, they were very surprised when a pack of hungry hyenas appeared and surrounded them. Shenzi was ready to eat it as soon as he realized who Simba was. Zazu comes to warn him that it will start a war with Mufasa. Shenzi attacks, but Zazu manages to hold him back long enough for Simba and Nala to escape. But somehow they are still outnumbered, and again Simba and Nala are besieged by the growing hyena hordes. Simba tried to roar to bully the hyenas, but his roar made the hyenas laugh. When the hyenas asked him to do it again, an even louder roar sounded very thunderous. And it was the roar of the king of the jungle. Mufasa emerged from behind the crowd of hyenas and bravely fought the hyenas alone. He managed to repulse the hungry hyenas and threatened Shenzi not to bother his child again. After Shenzi promised not to disturb the lion family again, Mufasa wanted to take the two naughty brats with him. Mufasa told Zazu to take Nala home first so he could talk to Simba in private. Under a beautiful twilight sky, Mufasa teaches an important lesson that his son must understand. That a king should not intentionally harm others, and it was perfectly natural for a king to feel fear. But the king must always be ready, when circumstances force him to be brave. The sun began to set, the sky began to darken, revealing thousands of brightly shining stars. They continued their conversation while looking up at the stars. Mufasa said that the stars in the sky are the embodiment of the previous kings who will always accompany whenever the king feels lonely. In the hyenas' lair, Scar came to negotiate with them. He promised the hyenas freedom of hunting, provided they would help him kill Mufasa and usurp the throne. At first all the hyenas hesitated because they knew that Mufasa was too strong for them to fight. But with royal blood flowing through his body, Scar finally managed to convince the hyenas that they could win against Mufasa together. The next day, Scar takes Simba to the canyon under the pretext of practicing his roar. After he left Simba alone, he signaled the hyenas to move. When he was seriously practicing his roar, suddenly from the top of the cliff Bison's group ran towards him. Simba ran as fast as he could and then tried to hide behind a rock. Meanwhile, Scar goes to Mufasa and Zazu to report about Simba being trapped in the canyon. Hearing this, Mufasa immediately ran towards the canyon followed by Scar and Zazu. Zazu arrived there first, and found Simba taking shelter in a dry tree trunk. Then the bird flew back to summon reinforcements. From the top of the cliff, Mufasa, Scar and Zazu have been monitoring Simba's condition. Mufasa immediately got down and ran among the bisons. But unfortunately, Mufasa had to lose his life when he managed to save Simba. Mufasa was stuck on a cliff and had time to ask for help from Scar who was above him. But instead of helping, Scar even clawed at his brother with a vengeance which then made the king of the jungle fall and be trampled by bison to death. Simba could only watch helplessly as his father was trampled. He ran downstairs and found Mufasa's body dead. Simba was crying while begging his father to wake up. When he was grieving over his father's death, suddenly Scar appeared and said that everything that happened was Simba's fault. Scar orders him to run away and never come back.